Thank you, Emanuele, and the Osservatorio del Chianti staff for the organization of this workshop and for this wonderful location. Excuse me for my bad English, but when I saw the focus of the workshop, I thought, okay, it's my workshop, because I manage a very small telescope at the University of Siena. Right. Which one? Now with the arrow? Okay. Okay. The observatory of the university is a small dome with a 12 inches telescope inside the medieval walls of our wonderful medieval town. It's not the best place where to place a telescope, but is very useful for our students. In winter months, they can attend their internship inside the observatory in just over their classrooms. So it's very, very useful to have a telescope on the roof of our department. As you can see, where is the pointer? There. Okay. Okay. As you can see, we are very close to the Torre del Mangia, one of the symbols of our town, and as you could see in this video, I think you notice this black hole. It's not supermassive. It's the hole of a spiral staircase for accessing the dome. 14 years ago, we had a student, Elisa, forced on a wheelchair. She is very interested in astrophysics, but she could never attend the activities of the observatory. So I am not an astronomer. I am a computer scientist devoted from 30 years to astronomy. So I had an idea to make the observatory completely managed from remote. And after a couple of years, the observatory was completely managed from remote. Life now is better for me too, but the idea came because Elisa disability. At that point, we wondered, what can we do with a small dome, a 12 inches telescope, a good enough CCD camera, scientific photometric filters. Can we do scientific research? And I practiced a little bit of photometry to study variable stars, but just for didactical purposes. So, in which fields could we do research? Variable stars, asteroids, extrasolar planets, and blazars. And stellar occultation too. Just yesterday afternoon, I observed a negative occultation, so I didn't observe an occultation of a star from a trans-Neptunian object. When we started to observe asteroids in our large field of view, 1 degree per 40 arc minutes, we discovered a lot of variable stars, more than 100, and we published the results on the Journal of the American Association of Variable Star Observers. And variable stars are a good topic for our students. We have a course in physics and advanced technologies. Sara Marullo, during a session on an asteroid, she managed from remote in the countryside, in the middle of nowhere in Maremma. She managed the telescope. She observed the asteroid for her internship, but she discovered by serendipity, a new binary star, and the binary stars, that binary star became the topic of her thesis. Asteroids. We see asteroids like a small dot of light moving through the stars. But we know that measuring the brightness of this small dot of light, we can obtain their rotational period if the shape of the asteroid is not spherical. So we started to observe many asteroids. In the last 10 years, we observed more than 300 of these small bodies of the solar system, and we published some of our results in the Minor Planet Bulletin and in other magazines, other journals. Furthermore, with a technique called light curve inversion, we can obtain the shape, the three-dimensional model of an asteroid starting from the photometric data. So this one is another good topic for our students. Leonella Filippa Saia discussed her thesis online during the COVID-19 pandemic, speaking about how the light curve inversion method works. And this is another field of application of photometry. When you learn enough to study asteroids with photometry, you can see some attenuation in the light curves of the rotational period of the asteroids, and these attenuations sometimes are very useful to discover new bodies of the solar system, satellites of a main body orbiting around the Sun, the satellite orbiting around the main body. So we discover more than 20 binary asteroids. This kind of research, we perform this kind of research among an international collaboration. When a guru, a researcher, you read a lot of papers written by him, write to you an email, and you read, okay, dear Alessandro, I read some of your articles on the Minor Planet Bulletin. You perform good photometry, and I manage an international collaboration to study binary asteroids. If you want, you can collaborate. I was very proud when I received this kind of email from Pet Pravec from Prague. It's a guru of the binary asteroids. So, with his international collaboration, BINAST, we discovered 21 binary asteroids, and this is I don't see the cursor. Okay, top right, the light curve of the rotational period of the last one we discovered, and bottom panel is the light curve detrended with the events of eclipse and occultation very, very clearly defined. Another field of research with a small telescope is exoplanets, extrasolar planets. In almost 20 years ago, I met Riccardo Claudi. He cannot remember, in Asiago, with Mauro Barbieri. Riccardo told to some amateur astronomers that it's possible with photometry to study extrasolar planets. Do you remember, Riccardo, the meeting in Asiago in 2005 with Mauro Barbieri? And I thought, okay, I have a telescope, I can try. And on the right, you see the first observation of a transit of the extrasolar planets I performed from the University of Siena with the old telescope. And when I saw this result, I thought, okay, it could work. Without thunder, but it could work. It worked. We, among other international collaborations, we discovered with our telescope 2 extrasolar planets, and now we are inside. I happily joined a few years ago the ExoClock collaboration. We have Anastasia Kokori here, and tomorrow we can hear from her what is ExoClock, but it's a collaboration in help of a future space mission Ariel, a future space telescope Ariel. And they need to have good timings for extrasolar planets transits. So I observed many of the candidates proposed by ExoClock collaboration, and now in the database there are 91 observations with data collected with our telescope. Exoplanets are another good topic for our students in physics. Leonardo Cavaglioni last September discussed his thesis about exoplanets, and he was invited in the last ExoClock meeting in October. He attended the meeting remotely, but he presented the results of his thesis during the ExoClock meeting in last October. The last field of research we can practice with our small telescope are blazars, the most distant and powerful objects we can observe. Not because we are clever and we have a very smart telescope, but because these objects are very, very powerful, very easy visible. Giacomo Bonnoli, Senese like me, but now at INAF Brera, forced me to start observing blazars 6 or 7 years ago. So optical monitoring of blazars is another very powerful field for amateur researchers. I perfectly know that there are big or space telescope devoted to the study of this kind of objects. So what can we do with our small telescopes? This is the spectral energy distribution of some blazars taken from a publication, from a paper, and this is our contribution. Very small, but very important to better define the shape of the first curve of a synchrotron peak. So, Giacomo convinced me that it could be useful obtaining optical data from this kind of objects. And it was an opportunity to join another important international collaboration, World Earth Blazar Telescope, WEB-T, managed from, I think, almost 20 years by two astronomers, Claudia Raiteri and Massimo Villata from INAF Torino. I met them personally last year, but I collaborated with them from some years. And they have a list of good targets. I choose the ones I can reach with my telescope under the urban sky of Siena, where our telescope is operating. And I discovered that blazars are very interesting objects. There are some very flaring, changing their brightness in few days or in few hours, showing extra intra-night variability. Other ones are very boring. A couple of them are very boring. Giacomo loves them. I hate them because I need to see variations to be happy the day after a not sleeping night. Okay, but they are very, very interesting, and the results of this kind of research are, for example, immediate results, such as astronomers' telegram to alert the scientific community interested in this kind of sources, extragalactic sources of a flaring state of a certain blazar. And I am proud enough when I hear that the day after one of our astronomer telegram, the biggest telescope of a space telescope are pointing the same target I observed the night before. And we collaborate with other important professional telescopes such as MAGIC or the Alessandro Observatory in Finland and WEB-T, as I saw, as I said. Okay, 5 years ago, I was invited to speak about blazars in a meeting of the Unione Astrofili Italiani, the Association of Italian Amateur Astronomers. And I tried to promote the observations of blazars like a very interesting activity. And after a few months, some of small telescopes joined the collaboration, the WEB-T collaboration, but Claudia Raiteri and Massimo Villata asked me to collect the data, check the validity of the data, then send to the international collaboration. So I was a filter for the validity of the data from other Italian telescopes. You can read the diameter, 12 inches, 30 centimeters is on average. My telescope is on average. And all these telescopes sent me a lot of data, for example, on the mother of all the blazars, B. Lacerte. And in the last years, we collected almost 23,000 observations, measurements of this, just of this blazar. Another view to see that I am the data collector responsible for all the Italian amateur telescopes, so I have to do the good example, and I acquired a lot of images. I spent a lot of nights on this target, but we collected a lot of measures about BL Lacerte. And at the end of 2022, we had a very great achievement with a publication on Nature. For this publication, the researchers used all the data we collected in the last years. So this is a very great satisfaction. I never thought to see my name and the telescope of the University of Siena on this kind of journal, top-level journals. So, when I started to try to do research, scientific research with our small telescope, I thought, okay, if we do good research, we need to obtain results. Results in research are publications. These are the publications obtained with the data collected with our 12 inches telescope, a small telescope. More than 200 publications, mainly about asteroids, blazars, and exoplanets. So, it works. It works, especially if you join important collaborations, national or international. For example, for asteroids in Italy, we have a very good collaboration among the Unione Astrofili Italiani. Albino knows perfectly what I'm saying now, because he is very active helping the amateurs like me with some more difficult targets. So, many publications, some very important highlights, but we have a university institution. We are a university institution, so we have other duties for the community. So I am involved with the name of the observatory of the university in education activities with primary school students and with high school students, proposing them how to use a telescope to do science, how to acquire images, to analyze them, to obtain a physical signification. And we propose to the community many outreach activities, such as stargazing nights, stargazing evenings, especially in the warm months, in very wonderful places, not in the town center of Siena. Sometimes we open the observatory for the public, but usually we go outside in Valdorcia, in Monte Amiata, in Maremma Natural Park. We bring our telescope our telescopes there, and we are surrounded by people, young people, who love to watch the stars together us. I like to end my talk. Oh, during the COVID pandemic, excuse me, I forgot one slide. During the COVID pandemic, we disfruit the remote capability of our observatory to propose live shows in our social profiles, and sometimes these shows were followed by thousands of people. I couldn't believe 30,000 people connected watching Jupiter and Saturn when they are very close each other at the end of December in 2020. So another way to do outreach is to use the social networks to propose some special events to everybody. I like to end my talk with this picture. 2 years ago, slowly but firmly, Elisa defended her PhD thesis. Elisa is the student who gave me the idea to automate the observatory. And I think that Elisa taught me more than I did with her. Thank you very much for your attention.